जलसाए सालाना के सामान के दिन है, अल्लाह से कुछ वादो पैमान के दिन है.
Here on MTA, it is day 2 of the Jalsa here in the United States from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Great to have all of you with us as we continue. A special guest right now joining us, Qasim Rashid. He is one of the most prominent authors in this country and a vocal opponent, I think, of all those that would try to have negative impacts of Islam and Ahmadiyyat. It's our pleasure to have him here. Thanks so much for coming here, Qasim.
Thank you.
So Hafiz, I was going to ask you a little bit of stuff in Urdu as well, but we'll primarily conduct the interview in English. But like I said, you're a prominent author. You're a guy who loves the written word, who has a real facility with it. Tell us a little bit about your journey as far as being a writer and being someone who's been, like I said, a really outspoken person that's really important to the Jamaat.
Well, this is the blessing of Khilafat, that we have such a beautiful model on how to take someone as weak as myself, who had literally no writing skills, and develop them into somebody who has a passion for writing. You know, the beauty of Khilafat is that we have a nizam in Jamaat Ahmadiyya that is established for people of my age through Khudam al-Ahmadiyya.
Right.
And as young Khudam, we have a strong writers guild that is ready to train and develop youth. So as a young teen, myself, 17, 18 years old, when I began to see the Islamophobia, the discrimination that Muslims are facing, you know, I was 19 when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
It lit a fire. And that fire then exploded when I began to see how bad the persecution was of Ahmadi Muslims in Pakistan as well.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than waiting to say, why isn't somebody telling the story, I realized I'm somebody and I've been blessed with the ability to speak in this free country. And once that domino effect happened, one thing led to another, and that's really been the trigger to get me to what I've accomplished so far. And I want to emphasize, I feel like what I've accomplished is very little. It's almost insignificant because we have miles to go.
Yeah.
And I hope we can get more Khudam and more young Lajna to join in this true jihad of the pen.
Oh, mashallah. It's I think what every great writer has is that passion to spread that word. Like you said, you feel like you could write 1,000 pages and it still doesn't feel like enough because there's so much more that you want to convey to people as well. But like I said, I read your first book. I thought it was fantastic. I thought, like you said, it was a really smart way of telling your own personal journey and yet also attacking some of those misperceptions and those prejudices that are against Islam. Your second book now has been released. Tell us a little bit about that. What prompted you to write that?
So my new book, Talk to Me, will be coming out in December. And the focus of Talk to Me is on race, religion, and education. And the idea is to demonstrate how as Muslims, as Americans, as people of color, as minorities, men and women, we need to take a more active role in writing our narrative for tolerance, for understanding. Look, no one is going to tell your story unless you tell your story yourself. And one of the things that I think we haven't done a good enough job in as Muslims in America is telling our story. As people of color, telling our story. And so what Talk to Me does is it takes the stories of women, of minorities, of racial minorities, of religious minorities, Christians, Muslims, Jews, even an atheist writer, and demonstrates how despite our differences, we need to find ways to work together in this common cause of service to humanity, because if we don't, then we relegate ourselves to our own destruction, and I don't think anybody wants that.
Hafiz, I was going to ask you a question about the book as well.
कासिम, सबसे पहले तो आपको मुबारकबाद हो माशाल्लाह. आपने ये आपकी तीसरी किताब है जो अब आ रही है माशाल्लाह है, तो उसके लिए हम आपको मुबारकबाद पेश करते हैं MTA की तरफ से. दूसरी जो चीज़ है कि आखिरी जो आपकी किताब आ रही है, इसमें आप क्या मैसेज देना चाह रहे हैं? यानी कि आपने 2 किताबें लिख लीं और उनमें क्या कमी महसूस की जो आपने ये नया टॉपिक इख्तियार किया है?
ज़ाकल्लाह खैर मुबारक. कमी तो खैर महसूस नहीं की. मैं समझता हूँ कि ये हमारी ज़िम्मेदारी है कि हम अपनी तरफ से लोगों को दिखाएं कि इस्लाम क्या है, बजाय कि हम जो इस्लामोफोब्स हैं उनको इजाज़त दें कि वो हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के ख़िलाफ़ कोई बात करें या हज़रत मसीह अलैहिस्सलाम के ख़िलाफ़ कोई बात करें. हमारे ऊपर फ़र्ज़ है कि वो कहते हैं कि वी स्टैंड ऑन द फ्रंट लाइन्स, और जो भी एलिगेशंस हैं उनको जवाब देते जाएं. अब इस किताब में मैंने क्या किया है कि मैं चाहता हूँ कि जो नौजवान लड़के लड़कियाँ हैं वो ख़ुद देख लें कि इस दुनिया में क्या क्या मुसीबतें हैं लोगों की, और उनको हमने कैसे सॉल्व करना है, कैसे रिजॉल्व करना है।
तो आपका इस किताब में जो जिनको आप खिताब कर रहे हैं वो जमात की यूथ है कि वो इसमें से मैसेज ले सकेगी, या ये आपने गैरों के लिए भी लिखी है?
दोनों के लिए लिखी
दोनों
है।
के लिए लिखी
अव्वल
है।
तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि लोगों को समझना चाहिए कि आपस में बात करने की कितनी ज़रूरी बात है।
हाँ।
सबसे पहले ये इस्लाम में ये है ना कि लोगों को पैगाम पहुँचाओ। तो ये तबलीगी किताब इस लिहाज से नहीं है कि ये आर्ग्यूमेंट देता है ख़ातम नबूवत का मसीह, लेकिन इस लिहाज से है कि दिखाता है कि हज़ूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने कैसे तबलीग किया, प्यार मोहब्बत से किया, लोगों की मदद करने के साथ तबलीग किया।
तो जो आजकल के हालात हैं, जिनमें आज का जो मॉर्निंग सेशन अदनान के साथ हम डिस्कशन कर रहे थे, उसमें भी इन्हीं सवालात को उठाया गया है जो इस वक्त के कंटेम्पररी इश्यूज जिसको जो है वो आप कह सकते हैं। तो इसमें उनका भी कुछ
ज़रूर
कि
हम रेसिज्म को कैसे रोकें, हम इस्लामोफोबिया को कैसे रोकें। ये जो आजकल ये बहुत बड़ा ये एक डिजीज़ हो गया है कि मर्द औरतों को मारते हैं, इसका जवाब कैसे दें, इसको लोग मर्दों को कैसे रोकें कि खुदा के लिए औरतों को ना मारे। इन चीज़ों की जो बहुत ज़रूरी सवालात हैं, इनका मैंने जवाब दिया गया है। और अल्लाह ताला के फजल से ये जैसे पहले दोनों किताबों में भी, इसमें भी हजूर ने अपनी ख़ास दुआएं फरमाई हैं और ख़ास नसीहतें दी हैं कि इस किताब में ये और ये भी लिखो।
अच्छा, अब आपने जो हुजूर की डायरेक्शन में इन चीज़ों को लिखा है, तो हमारी यूथ को आप क्या मैसेज देंगे कि वो इसमें से कौन से चैप्टर ज़्यादा तवज्जो से पढ़ें?
मैं तो चाहता कि सारे चैप्टर पढ़ें, लेकिन इसमें एक चैप्टर तो मैंने ख़ास तौर पर खिलाफत के बारे में लिखा है, ख़ास तौर पर हजूर के बारे में लिखा है कि लोगों को समझना चाहिए कि असल लीडरशिप है क्या, और दुनिया में असल लीडरशिप में क्या कमी है, और हुजूर इसका कैसा दिखाते हैं कि खिलाफत अहमदिया में जो दुनिया लीडरशिप मांग रही है वो खिलाफत अहमदिया में मिलेगी इंशाल्लाह।
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
One of the things in your book you were saying, Qasim, is not only Islamophobia and dealing with prejudice, but also anti-Semitism. Absolutely. And we had a Tabligh event in Connecticut, and we had people show up there. And I find, I don't know if Hafizah could speak to this as well, but you'll find non-Ahmadis will come to our events and they'll say, listen, I know you guys are not like ISIS. I know that's a terrorist organization. That's not reflective of your religion. But I have some issues. And always the questions they ask, and I'll ask each of these, but the one is anti-Semitism. They always say, why is there issues between Muslims and Jews? And why is it that I've heard that there's been issues about Prophet Muhammad slaying a certain number of Jews? So how do you deal with that in the book, and how is the advice for all of us out there who, when they ask us, okay, why is there always issues with Muslims and Jews?
Well, I'll pivot to my second book, Extremist, actually delves into these in detail. So if somebody wants a detailed reference argument demonstrating that there's no such thing as anti-Semitism in Islam, that Prophet Muhammad actually ended anti-Semitism in his lifetime, Extremist delves into that. But I think this goes back to why I titled my third book, Talk to Me. Because until we have these dialogues in an open and honest and refreshing format, this confusion, this fear, this misunderstanding is going to continue to fester. The reality is that Islam considers Jews as equal human beings. The Quran calls them the people of the book. I was at a lecture once and a Jewish man once stood up and said, I think it is laughable that people call Islam anti-Semitic. And the reason is because if Islam was anti-Semitic, then men wouldn't have permission to marry Jewish women.
That's a great point.
And so he goes, it would be a really bizarre marriage to marry a woman and then have to hate her because of your religion. So the reality is that this is a myth, and these are the kinds of opportunities that we need to take advantage of to debunk these myths and build these bridges of understanding.
Before I forget, what's your Twitter handle?
Muslim IQ.
You can always follow Qasim there, and you show a real willingness to embrace people. People want to debate with you. You'll go back at them as well. And like Hafiz Saab and I were saying, this is a really tricky issue now with gay marriage and the Supreme Court ruling, and Bilal Rana's speech talking about the return of the days of Prophet Lut. Because non-Ahmadis will look at you and say, all right, love for all, hatred for none, then how come you can't support gay marriage? I thought you were supporting everybody. What do you say to that?
No, I think it's an important question, and I thought Bilal Rana, the president of the Muslim Youth USA, did a great job of describing that we love all humanity, regardless. Our love for humanity is resolute because as Muslims we are called to serve all humanity. The question then comes in as to what aspects, what characteristics or behaviors of humanity do we love or do we embrace? Now Islam has given us a moral code that is built on this concept of what has the best utility for humanity, what has the best overall service to humanity. So it's not a question of Islam being against gay marriage. Islam has a defined behavior through which sexual interaction should be characterized. So on one extreme, you have certain religious groups that say that there shall be no such behavior, period. Like the Catholic Church with priests say none. On the other extreme, you say that, look, it's a free country, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
So this debate and this dialogue comes down to what is the proper method. And the Islamic model of marriage is one that has a utility, which means that it can produce children, it can advance society, and it can create an environment where there is a cohesive household. And I think the most critical thing to point out is that the Islamic standard doesn't change with time.
Yeah.
It isn't something that switches based off what the majority believes or what might is right. For example, even now in California, the legal age for marriage is 12. Now this is shocking to think about, and most Americans don't know this, but Islam says no, that's a child's age. A child shouldn't be married. The consistent standard that Islam has held 1400 years ago hasn't changed today, and at no point has it harmed humanity. It continues to benefit humanity. I recommend everybody listen to Bilal's speech, because I think he goes into this in a lot more detail than we can in the few seconds we have right now.
Third book, talk to me. Where can people pick up the first two books?
The first two books are available on Amazon. You can tweet me, you can visit my website, and you can find them pretty easily.
Muslim IQ, as you can see, he is as articulate and as engaged as anybody in our Jamaat. It's a real blessing to have Qasim Rashid, not only as a part of our Jamaat, but here as well as the Jalsa. So hopefully I'm sure people will come to you and talk to you and engage you in more conversation as well.
Thank
you
very
I
much.
appreciate it. Jazakallah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
अल्लाह से कुछ